Hey guys, it's me the American, and today we have the Cold Steel XL Voyager. It's touted as probably one of the strongest folding blades on the market today, but let's see if it can pass the Mayor Fuglycool test. The Cold Steel XL Voyager features 5.5 inches of CTS BD1 steel for its blade. Now it also has the patented tri-lock mechanism that locks the blade fully open. It's a very strong mechanism according to Cold Steel. It has a handle made from Guyvery EX polymer with a metal endoskeleton. Clip point blade design on my model. Pocket carry clip. Here's the screws in the back to secure it. And of course, made in Taiwan. Blade thickness is 0.13 inches. And for our friends on the other side of the globe that use a metric system, it is around 3.6 millimeters thick. This Voyager out of the box was razor sharp. When I took it out, I was actually, gave me the chills. It was extremely sharp, but let's test out the sharpness on a standard piece of copy paper. Now remember, safety first, my friends. Oh man, that thing just poked me in the eye. My safety glasses poked me in the eye. Can you believe that? Gosh. Look at that, flawless. Would you check that out? It will cut. Well, let's begin the real testing. This is phase one. We're going to start off with some tinder for the fire. The Voyager, I mean, really, it's got a healthy blade length. No problem making tinder, I'm pretty sure, but let's try it out anyways. Now remember, always use a really big tinder stick for your really big Texas fires. And as always, safety first, my friends. You don't want to splinter in the eye. You don't want to get burned in the eye if the tinder's on fire, so gotta be kind of careful there. There we go. Got it set up. Cutting right here. Shaving off my tinder. Wow. Excellent. That blade length, the blade width, everything just lent itself into a really natural, pusher. I mean, I was able to just shave those tinder pieces off really, really naturally. A+. Next up we have the chopping test. This Voyager features a 5.5 inch blade, probably one of the biggest pocket knives I've seen, with about a 6-inch handle. I mean, you can get a lot of leverage on this thing, so let's see how it fares against a common construction material, a piece of white pine 2x4 from our Canadian friends up north. It's actually kind of on the overkill side of the spectrum on what you're going to encounter, especially on a survival situation. You might need to hack through light vegetation or small limbs. So let's see how the Voyager fares. Now remember, safety first, my friends. You really don't want a 2x4 in the eye. I'll be chopping here. Wow, would you look at that? For its size, it is an excellent chopper. Definitely A+. On that last test, all that chopping motion, no wiggle vertically, no wiggle horizontally. That triad lock is right as rain. Well, next up we have the tip test. I'll be stabbing the tip into this 2x6 down here. I'll be pushing all the way to the left, all the way to the right, 5 times in alternating procession. And we will see if the tip stays on the blade itself. In the past, a couple of the knives that I've tested with the tip test, I mean, they just fracture right off. But a lot of the really good steel, this steel right here, the CTS, it's a very, very good steel. I would say about a high mid-range steel. It's quality steel. The tip should hold, and hopefully We won't have any problems. Now remember, do not try this at home. On the back of your cold steel box, it says it will void the warranty. Do not use it as a pry bar, and safety first, my friend. I'll be striking here. Whoop. That was actually pretty quick. The steel was not strong enough to effectively bend all the way, and unfortunately the tip has fractured. The total overall score of the Cold Steel Voyager XL with a clip point is a B. Lock strength was excellent. Sharpness was also excellent. Chopping ability was very good for a blade of its size. But the tip test, it failed miserably. There you can kind of see like the little powder molecules of the steel. I will say that the Voyager, it starts thick, but the tip, I believe, is too thin. I think that the tip should be a lot thicker for a little bit more strength. And on top of that, I do believe that the Voyager does have promise further on in my test. I have not failed it yet, so let's go ahead and move on to Phase 2. On to Phase 2, we have the Cold Steel Voyager XL versus the concrete cinder block for the edge retention test. I'll be striking the edge of this Voyager on this heavyweight concrete block, and after I strike it, well, if it survives, I'll be cutting into a lime rind, and I'll see how effortless it is to cut the lime in half. Now remember, do not try this at home. Now that the tip broke, that's giving me a high indication that either, number one, the blade is not tempered correctly. You know, it didn't bend, it actually broke off, it fractured. Either the blade's not tempered correctly, the material is MIM metal injection molded. Well, let's go ahead and get on with the test. Now remember, do not try this at home, and safety first, my friends. That was a good solid whack. Let's try it out. Pretty clean cut. Pretty surprised. I do see some small fractures, but other than that, it was actually a pretty nice cut. The blade edge did take some damage. I had some micro chipping, and other than that, the blade does not seem to be cracked or compromised, so let's go ahead and continue with our tests. Cold Steel advertises that their folding locking knives are the strongest, sharpest pocket knives on the planet. Well, let's go ahead and put that claim to the test. This is the Cinder Block. Now, very famous in my test, many knives have fallen to the Cinder Block and to the brick, but y'all guys, you wanted the Cinder Block to come out first this time around because many of you agreed that the Cinder Block was a little bit weaker than the notorious brick. So let's try it in this order this time. Now remember, do not try this at home. I have a modified power glove and I have power armor. It's pretty awesome. Safety first, my friends. And definitely don't try this at home. Only for Mayor Fuglycool trained professionals. I'll be striking here. Try to rotate it a little bit. Get a little bit better angle on it. There we go. Readjust my grip. Meow! Perfect. Wow. Would you look at that? For a folding knife, I was able to withstand all those blows. There's very minimal movement vertically. Horizontally, no movement at all. The lock has held up very well, and the steel has also held up extremely well. The Cinder Block was no match for the Voyager. Let's get this baby Cinder Block out of here. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. And let's face off with the infamous brick. These bricks are, I mean, they're responsible for the world domination of the year 2143. They are extremely durable. The brick uprising, you know, it's been predicted about in the future, but I'll tell you what, let's see if the Voyager can defeat the evil time-traveling brick. Now remember, safety first, my friend. Striking here. Adjust my grip a little bit. No cheating there, Fuglycool. If you had to face off against the evil zombie Victor of the future, I'll tell you what, this Voyager knife is definitely a match for the brick, but the brick has tied the Voyager today. The blade is very lightweight. You get a lot of leverage with the length of the handle, but since it's so lightweight, it doesn't really have the force necessary to go through a hard object. So, well, let's just go ahead and give the brick and the knife an equal tie for today. But the lock is wobbling a little bit more, a fraction more than what it did before. And there's a lot more horizontal wobble now than the Cinder Block. Vertical distortion, up and down, very minimal. Horizontally, we have an issue. You can probably see it on camera, but that is a lot more than before. Before the test began, there was none whatsoever. Against the Cinder Block, there was very minimal horizontal distortion, and now there is a lot more. So it seems that the brick was a very tough opponent for the cold steel Voyager. Now granted, it is a folding knife. I don't really expect it to perform as the solid blades that I've tested in the past. But we will see how much longer the Voyager can last. At the end of phase 2, I give the XL Voyager a C grade. I was able to get the Cinder Block. Yes, awesome. No other folding knife has done that in the past on my test. The ZT, it failed. The lock just kept slipping. For me, that is a no-go in my situation. This lock held together, so it has a lot of promise to finish out the test. Now, against the brick, it was a lot harder material, and I'm getting horizontal distortion that is very disturbing, but the lock has still held. It is an extremely tough knife. Lindsey Thompson, you make a pretty mean knife. And let's go ahead and keep on going to phase 3. I've got the GI 50 cal ammo can used around the world to haul ammunition all over the place. Extremely durable. I mean, this metal, it's not tin metal, it's not sheet metal. It's actual heat treated sheet, and it's really good quality. So remember, safety first, my friends. Do not try this at home or you might get tetanus in the eye. I'll be striking here. Well, without a tip, There is no penetration whatsoever going on here. I will not discredit the knife just because the tip fractured off. I won't discredit it. It's still very useful, but a lot of the penetration ability has just gone out the window. One of the most stressful things in the Mayor Fuglycool test is definitely the standing test. Now, I'll be hammering this cold steel Voyager into this 4x6 right here, and then standing on top of it with my weight to see if, you know, the actual steel holds up, the lock holds up. You know, the whole knife has to be very rigid, very strong, very safe for it to support my weight. Now, a lot of the times when you see knife makers test these, they hammer them in vertically like this. Of course, I mean, there's plenty of metal there to support your weight when you hammer it vertically. Horizontally, that's a whole different story. I started doing my tests horizontally. A lot of the fixed blades, they survive, they pass. Some of the weaker ones, the metal fractures and they just break off. A folder has not gotten this far in my tests before. So I'm really interested to see how it does. Now remember, safety first, my friends. I'll be hammering on the back end of this with a miniature sledgehammer. It's the craziest thing. So the steel itself is going to be compressing in on itself. The lock is going to be wiggling around. Now horizontally, this lock is already starting to fail. It's getting very close to failure. And we'll just have to see if this guyvery holds up. Don't try this at home. Got a good spot right there. It's going to be hard to hammer in because it doesn't even have a tip. It just got completely stuck, like it does not want to go past that part. I mean, it's only gone in about half of an inch. Try it again. Maybe I hit a knot or something. It's just completely stuck. It won't go. So let's go ahead and try it out. My goal insertion length was 1.5 inches into that 4x6. I wanted to get as close as I could to 1.5, at least to 1 inch from that broken tip on the Voyager. I was only able to get 3/4 of an inch, and it actually fractured with my weight actually before 3/4 of an inch, which is kind of strange. So the blade actually did give and bend a little bit before it finally just snapped. It really wasn't a lot of meat. 3/4 of an inch is not a lot of meat, but that's all that I had to deal with. It did not want to penetrate into that 4x6. After hammering for about 15-20 minutes, it did not want to go in. I actually did try to hammer it further than what was shown on video, and it did not want to go anywhere. Now, this is what's very concerning. I have to call the test here, because that lock is starting to fail. You see that between the handle and the blade? That is definitely a loose lock. Now, vertically, this lock feels very strong. Horizontally, this lock is starting to fail. So I think now would be a very good time to call the test to an end. Alright guys and gals, well, there you have it. The Cold Steel XL Voyager with the clip point has failed the Mayor Fuglycool test. I really, really wanted it to pass. I mean, I've seen a lot of tests on this Voyager. I mean, real tough. I mean, tough as nails. And this test has shown, the Mayor Fuglycool test has shown that this knife is extremely durable. Now, there were some warning signs, especially with the tip test, with the tip breaking. I decided to include in the test from y'all guys, my viewers. You said, Mayor Fuglycool, do the tip test. We really want to see it. Okay, that's awesome. Another test that you'd like to see is how sharp it is after the test. And you know what? Give me 1 second. Sha! Came back. there's some minor hesitation, but it's actually still razor sharp. I'm really surprised. See, that amazed me. I'm putting whatever my viewers say to me, you know, whatever suggestions y'all guys have, I'm putting it in the test just for y'all guys out there. Now, shout out to Lindsey Thompson. Excellent folding knife. Good length, good girth. You know, it's got a good feel to it. Even the length of the handle gives me a little bit more real estate. You know, the handle itself feels great in the hand. One thing I'd like to tell you, Lynn, is that the steel itself, I think it needs to be a little bit more tough. Now, I think it fractures very easily. I wish the steel was more of like a stainless type. Like AUS 8, a lot of the AUS 8 I've tested bends far more before it just fractures. This steel right here, it feels like it just chips very quickly. Now, there were some warning signs here. I'd like to get to that. Right here, if you can hear that, that is a definite sign that your lock is failing. The lock itself, great vertically, like I've said before, bad horizontally. I just, you know, the lock is a big deal with folding knives, but I really did abuse it. I mean, I really went at it. I really wanted to see if this knife would last, and it lasted to the very end, almost to the very end. It did not pass the standing test, unfortunately. I mean, if I'd have done the pull-up test and it would have passed, it would have been awesome. Finally, there was a knife that would beat, you know, a folding knife that would have beat my test, but this knife has gotten the closest to beating the test as a folder. +1 to Vance. Thank you, Vance. Without Vance, I wouldn't have been able to do this test. He actually donated this Voyager to me, and he said, you know what, Mayor? He's like, I want you to try this out. Try this out for me, and see if you can really just beat the heck out of it. So I said, all right, cool, man. You know, for sure. Kudos to Vance. Awesome guy. He is a definite longtime friend of the Mayor. Now remember, +1 this video. If you liked it, +1 it. Say, Mayor, I like it when you do all the shisha action. Do the +1s. You know, I know I didn't really do many Arnold impressions this time, but I was actually just really trying to focus on this test. I was trying to get more of a scientific aspect to it. Comment in the comment box below. Tell me what you want to see. Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like. You know, Mayor, I like this part of the test. Mayor, I want to see this knife in the future. I listen to y'all guys. And if you have a test to add, I'll try to add it to my test, you know, to save time. I might have to shorten it or whatever, but there are always compromises that come up. If you didn't like this video, tell me what I can improve on. Subscribe. Every time you subscribe to the Mayor Fuglycool channel, you get all the crazy Mayor Fuglycool, you know, knife twirling action, you know, crazy cinder block busting, futuristic brick smashing, you know, all sorts of crazy, you know, awesome action directly to your computer, smartphone, tablet, PC. Shoot, your mom's Dell at work that's like 20 years old. I think that could get my Mayor Fuglycool channel up online on. I'll tell you what, y'all guys, my fans, have really kept me going. There was a time period, a lull. I had a lot of work, but I'm back. I am trying to kind of improve my tests. I had my power armor, you know, and I had my power glove, and I'm just trying to get a little bit more on the personal protective side. I guess in the past I was a little bit more brazen. I still am, you know. I mean, especially with the folder. A lot of people out there would not have their hand smashing cinder blocks for you guys. I want you all guys to be safe. If you have to use this in a situation that warrants that type of abuse, guess what? I'm here for y'all guys. Well, guys, I hope you guys had a lot of fun watching this, and remember, that's the Mayor. Thanks for watching.